Hey friends, God bless you. This is Maria. This time I'm not approaching you for the Bible study that I usually do uh, every weekend, every week, sorry. But this time I am responding to the challenge of our Sunday guest speaker, Ron Corson, about giving our testimony, a 3 minute testimony of how we met the Lord. And for me, I'm familiar with this media, with this kind of way to do it. And that's the way that I usually project and talk about the Lord. And I've been doing it for a while, so I feel really comfortable doing it this way. So I'm going to try to make a 3 minute testimony. I thought that it would be great for everybody that follows me online to know how I met the Lord. And it would have been 21 years ago. At that moment, I had a spiritual mixture. I was making a spiritual mixture of everything. I wanted God, I wanted bad. I had a lot of religion and a lot of occultic beliefs. And at that moment, I would accept anything and everything that somebody will bring to my hands about the Lord, about God, and I will try to apply it, pray to the Lord about it, and that's what I was doing at the moment. And I put a link on the message on the title of this live recording, and it has the title of one of the books that it got to my hands at that moment. The name was He Came to Set the Captives Free by Dr. Rebecca Brown. That was one of the books that came to my hands. Again, I was receiving and accepting anything of any kind, any religion, any kind of philosophy that will be spiritual, that will talk to me about God. I wanted God. I wanted to meet Him. Um, One way or the other, I would find Him, and I was not satisfied with where I was. I wanted Him bad. So this was one of the books. This one was one of the books that came to my hands, and I was doing what I was doing at the time. I was reading, praying to God about it, and apply anything that I could apply, and keep it up. So I was reading this book, and there was a chapter about spiritual blinders. You know, like the blinders that horses would use, so they will keep on track. She was talking that there is some demonic force that will work like spiritual blinders, and it works in the way that it makes you think that everything is okay, that everything is fine, that you don't need anymore, that you don't need to go further, that you don't need to accept this or that, and it limits your perspective of your life and where you're going in such a way that it lets you just perceive what they want and not further than that. So you stay the way that you are. And when I read about it, I would I'd finish the chapter, and I would go to the Lord and pray like I used to. And I said, well, Lord, to me, that is not talking about me, because you know that I am searching for you wholeheartedly, very honestly, and with all my heart, with everything that I can, and all that I know to do and I can do, I'm doing. And you know that I'm human, I'm not perfect like anybody else. So this cannot be talking about me. But if I think this way, and I think that I'm giving and having, and where I'm as far as I can get because of one of the spirits limiting my perspective, then I ask you to let me see. I ask you to open my eyes and let me see. That's what I said. And I try to go on with my reading like I would. And when I tried to, I couldn't. All of a sudden, I start to have flashbacks of my life. Things that I was very aware of, that I could remember. I knew things that were very familiar to me, but at the same time, I was hearing the voice of God for the first time in my spirit. And I was seeing it from God's perspective, not from my own. And I could feel God's feelings about it. So I was hearing God's voice talking to me. I was seeing from God's perspective, and I could feel how God felt at that moment with everything that it was flashing on my mind. And it was a scene after another scene after another scene, like pictures, flashbacks, one after the other. And at the same time that this was going on, God was telling me within me, if you are so fine, like you say, why this? And if you are so fine, like you say you are, and you're so fine, then why this? And why this? Why this? Why this? And since we'll start to speed up and flash one after the other, it started to speed up in such a way it was overwhelming. Because at that moment, so far, I will tell everybody, that's your perspective, that is your opinion. You could be as wrong as I am. You're just a human like I am. You don't know that you are right. And maybe you think you are, or maybe you're recruiting me to your perspective, to your church, to your whatever, but you might be wrong just like I am. But at that moment, I was by myself. I was alone in that place, and it was just me and God. Obviously, it was not myself. I never saw my life that way. I never thought that it was wrong. I thought that it was a normal life like any other human, and God would understand. But this is the thing. I was looking at that moment from God's perspective, feeling his feelings. And I could feel from his heart that yes, it was average. It was no more or less than any other human. And yes, he could understand, but he was not okay about it. And I was not supposed to be okay with it. I was not supposed to just be content with it. I was not supposed to just leave it like that. And I could feel from God. Nobody was telling me. I could feel it from his heart that if I would have died at that moment, I would have been lost forever. And there was no more argument. There was nobody there to argue with. It was God from his heart. And I appreciate that because I saw the truth, not anybody's opinion or perspective. I saw the truth from God's perspective. I was overwhelmed. I started to sob like a baby in such a way that somebody in the house from another room could hear me. He heard me and tried to calm me down. I tried to explain, but I was still too overwhelmed. And she called her pastor. I tried to explain that over the phone. He came with his wife to me. I explained again and I said, I don't know why I am like I saw, because I'm doing my very best. Everything that people tell me, everything that I read, I'm trying. Why am I like I saw? And he said, well, the problem is you're doing all this, but you don't have authority to do it. There was no more argument about it. I saw from God's perspective that I was lost. I could not tell him again, oh no, that's your perspective, that's your opinion, you're recruiting. No, there was no more argument. I knew I was lost. At that moment, I was lost. And I told him, do you mean to tell me that I am hopeless and helpless of everything that I saw? I cannot do anything about it. And he said, well, like you are right now? No. And I said, well, tell me, what do I have to do? I don't want to be like this. I want to be in God's side. I want to be saved. And he just directed me to a prayer of salvation, of giving my life to the Lord. It was something that I heard before, that I have done before, but I didn't change my life with it. I was just doing another prayer before. At that moment, I knew, nobody told me, The pastor didn't tell me. I knew inside of me, between me and God, that when I was making that prayer of giving my life to Jesus, it implied a change of life. I could not make that mixture anymore. I could not just do whatever and whatever and however anymore. I had to go to the Bible. I had to go to the Lord. I had to stop my ways and follow His. And within me, I said, He didn't hear me. Nobody heard me. It was within me in my mind. I told the Lord while I was repeating the prayer and this conviction. I said to the Lord, I'm still not totally convinced about this. How about if this is just an emotional thing? How about if I am mistaken? How about if I am following something that is still not the thing? So you're not going to just look at me with my intention of following you and turn around from whatever to follow you and follow something wrong with my good intentions. I'm serious here. I do want to live your life. You're not going to just look at me going the wrong way and not do something about it, right? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to change my way to your way, what I think is your way right now, right in front of me here. I'm going to follow this, but you're going to tell me. You're going to confirm to me if this is the way that you have for me, if this is the way of salvation really or not. And if I see that this is not the way and I'm going wrong, I'm going to turn around 180 back. So you better confirm to me, because I'm trying to go to you. And that was my agreement with the Lord at that moment, in my heart, within me. From there on, every time that I will go to these people and talk with them, they will start to talk exactly about what I was praying or asking the Lord about in my room. Maybe the night before, maybe that morning, nobody knew about it, and all of a sudden, somebody, a lady, a boy, a friend, somebody in the group will start talking about that same thing, telling me about what they knew about the subject, what they learned about it. Every time for maybe a year straight, I would go to the church, and what I was asking that night before to the Lord, about what I read in the Bible or how I felt about it, the pastor will stop right there and say, well, I don't know why I feel I have to say something about this, but, and he will start talking exactly about what I was praying in my room. Exactly that. I'm telling you, it was many people around for maybe a year straight. And the Lord confirmed again and again that I choose the path of life that He wanted for me, that it would bring me to salvation. And I've been there for 21 years now. I believe it was April 2nd, 1996. The Lord will have to confirm that, but that's what I think it was, the date. April 2nd, 1996. So that's my response to Ron Corsin's challenge of sharing our testimony. The point was, this demoniac of gathering didn't have anything else but his testimony, and later on, the whole community, the whole area received Jesus open arms because of his testimony. That if we don't know anything, if we don't know scriptures, if we don't know theology, if we don't know much, but just our experience with the Lord, that we should share it. And of course, I love to share my testimony with you guys. So there it is. And I hope that it does encourage you when you don't want more opinions, you don't want more perspectives, but you do want the truth and you do want God, go directly to Him. He is alive, He is a person, He is truth, and He will respond to you. I'm not an exception. Many people have testimonies of how God has responded to them, to their cry, and He has been there and make things plain to them. He did to me. And I'm nobody other than like any other person. So go to the Lord, ask Him directly. He will respond to you and He will let you know what is your path of salvation, what is the path of salvation that He has for you. In my case, it was confirmed that it was Jesus and it was the Bible. And I do believe with all my heart that's the truth, the way, the truth, and the life. I confirm it with Him by own experience. And it doesn't matter what happens and what people tell me and bring up, I go to the same foundation. This is not something that I've learned from somebody. This is not my interpretation. I lived it. I lived this. That's why I'm here. That's why where I am. That's why I teach what I teach and I testify of what I do, because I lived it. This is my own experience. Nobody can argue that. So I encourage you to find your own experience. Mwah!